Thank you for joining me for another look at a Beatles-related item. Magical Mystery Mike here. Welcome. If you're new to my channel, won't you consider subscribing? And beat that like button while you're at it to encourage the creation of more content. Thank you so much. This segment is a brief look at a unique feature of the Beatles Rock Band.
Meet the Beatles, rock the world.
Just a quick disclaimer, I will not be focusing overtly on gameplay in this video, but instead on what was included within the physical game disc packaging, the exclusive audio content, and exactly which tracks were chosen for use within this game. Just as September 9th, 2009 saw the release of remastered issues of the entire Beatles catalog in stereo, in addition to a collection of all of the recordings that were originally released in mono, a video game featuring the Beatles was released the same day. This was the latest in the Rock Band series that was wildly popular at the time. The game was made available for all major gaming systems. The item featured here was formatted for the Xbox 360. The game was presented in DVD-like packaging. The ubiquitous advert was, of course, included within the case. It's a bit longer than those included within the CD packaging, and it calls attention to the CD box sets, this Rock Band game, the Cirque du Soleil Love Show in Las Vegas, and the fact that
Hearing is believing.
when it comes to the newly remastered for 2009 catalog of the Beatles. An included card presented information on how to download additional song tracks for the Beatles Rock Band. The download card included a code for a free Beatles Rock Band avatar shirt. As was the case with most any video game, a book of directions and credits was also included. Gameplay included guitar, bass, drums, and vocals. The booklet listed full song credits for the songs included. Apple Corps, including Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, Yoko Ono, and Olivia Harrison, approved and stood behind the content of this game. Even George's son, Donnie Harrison, a fan of the Rock Band games, was involved as a design consultant. In fact, I've heard Donnie provided the inspiration for the creation of this game. What interested me and many hardcore Beatles fans most about this game was that while the CD releases of the Beatles albums were remastered, the tracks included on the Beatles Rock Band were remixed, produced for the Beatles Rock Band by none other than Giles Martin. For those of you who may not be familiar with the technical implications of a remaster versus a remix, consider this analogy. Think of a dirty window. While a remaster aims to clarify by removing the dust and grime off a recording with the intentions of maintaining the integrity of the original mix choices, a remix takes the window frame apart, reassembles it from the original pieces, and creates a new perspective. While you're looking out the same window, the framing is reconstructed. Keep in mind that prior to 2009, remixes of the Beatles catalog on CD were limited to the 1987 George Martin remixes of Help and Rubber Soul, and miscellaneous projects such as the Yellow Submarine song track, Let It Be Naked, and Love. Having additional remixes featured on the Beatles Rock Band caused a bit of a stir in 2009. Some industrious fans figured out a way to export the audio to create digital files and CDs. These CDs were never officially released, but are available if one looks hard enough. I'm not endorsing or encouraging pirated music in any way, shape, or form. However, if one wants to hear these Beatles remixes outside of the game, this is, unfortunately, the only way to do so. I will mention that within the game, it's even possible to isolate tracks, which is an interesting prospect in itself. I was able to listen to the Rock Band remixes after stumbling upon a private seller offering this 4 CDR set. Between the songs that were included with the game, plus the additional tracks that were made available for download, there were a total of 75 original studio recordings, plus an additional bonus track and studio chat. That's nearly 35% of the 217 total recordings that make up the Beatles' UK core catalog. Not a bad haul of remixed tracks. All of the Beatles' original studio albums are represented in the Beatles Rock Band game, some more than others. let's take a look at the breakdown. There were 4 songs from Please Please Me. With the Beatles got only 1 track featured in the game. A Hard Day's Night had 2 album tracks included. Beatles for Sale, 1 track. 1 track from Help was included. All 14 tracks from Rubber Soul were remixed for the game. This was one of 3 albums released in its entirety for Rock Band. Revolver was represented by 3 tracks from the album. Sgt. Pepper was another album to be remixed entirely for the Rock Band game, with the exception of the Run Out from the Inner Groove being omitted. There were 3 songs included from Magical Mystery Tour. The White Album got 5 tracks. Even Yellow Submarine was featured with 1 tune included. Abbey Road was the 3rd and final title given the full album remix treatment. And there were 4 songs from Let It Be. 6 singles featured since 1987 on Past Masters were also included. In addition, the mashup of Within You Without You and Tomorrow Never Knows from the Love album were also presented for the game. If you haven't heard it, do yourself a favor and check this one out, as it's a highlight of the Love project. Finally, there's a plethora of studio chat from the end credits of the game, as well as chat from the session that produced the George Harrison song Think For Yourself from Rubber Soul. Interestingly, a small bit of the chat from this session was used on Paul McCartney's experimental album from 2000, Liverpool Sound Collage, on the tracks Peter Blake 2000 and Free Now. Mind you, that album is not for the casual fan, but if you want to take a chance, do what you want to do.
Do what you want to do, do what you want to do, do what you want to do, do what you want to do.
You've been warned. Back to the remixes on Rock Band. Almost every song features an introduction in the form of either a count-in, studio chat, or additional music. The endings are also altered at times, as tracks that normally fade out receive definitive endings, clumsy as that may be in certain cases. For example, it was from Rock Band that I first heard Her Majesty with the ending bass note, released 10 years before the 50th anniversary edition of Abbey Road. The mixes often center audio that may have been panned left or right on the original recordings. Listening to the individual tracks can be really fascinating. However, listening to the full albums offered can be a bit tedious. To hear the natural flow of Sgt. Pepper interrupted is particularly jarring. But overall, this is an excellent collection of remixes that I enjoy listening to now and again for a different experience to what I'm used to. It's a shame these tracks, presented the way they are on Rock Band, did not receive a dedicated audio release in the form of a separate box set. Now that would have rocked the world. Thanks for watching, and keep an eye out for my next video.